Hello and welcome back to INMR. In today's podcast, I'm going to be predicting how the Champions League is going to pan out from now. So we're going to start from the quarterfinals, which were decided on Friday. I'll also be naming a few players from each tie who I think are going to have a big impact on the final result. Then at the end, once we've decided who will win the Champions League, we'll predict the Golden Boot winner and also the player of the tournament. So let's start off with the first game, which is a good one. It is Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. So I did a podcast on Arsenal's chances of going far in the Champions League the other day, sort of analysed how they played against Porto, where they can improve, what looked good, and then finally what stage they've got the potential to reach. I concluded that podcast by saying as long as they don't draw Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, they've got a very good shot at getting definitely to the semi-finals and potentially beyond, and they've gone and drawn Bayern Munich. So I'm not very confident in Arsenal's chances, but it will be very interesting to see how they get on compared to a few years ago where they lost 10-2 on aggregate. For Bayern Munich, this is all they've got. They're out of the DFB Pokal and Leverkusen are leading the Bundesliga by 10 points at the minute. So the Champions League is their only chance to win some silverware, and of course they've brought in Harry Kane, and that was a move for him to get some trophies, and this is now his only chance. So for Bayern as a squad, the Champions League is vital for them to get some success in what has been a real below par season. Of course, I think experience is definitely going to play its part. Bayern have been here before, whereas Arsenal have been out of the Champions League and these knockout stages for a very long time. I think Bayern playing away first as well gives them the advantage, because that means that the second leg will be at the Allianz Arena, where Bayern will know exactly what they need to do, how many goals they need to get in order to get over the line. Key players in this one, of course, I've already mentioned him, Harry Kane. He's making his return to North London, facing his former rivals, and I do think he's going to be very difficult to contain. He's scoring goals for fun this season in the Bundesliga, and I can see him causing some real havoc at the Emirates. One I'm really excited to see is Jamal Musiala. Everyone's talking about him at the minute. For Arsenal, Martin Odegaard is obviously going to be their key player. The quality he's got with his passes, his shooting, his vision, he's a really all-round player that I think if Arsenal have got a chance, it will come from Martin Odegaard. He will have a lot to do with any success that comes Arsenal's way in this tie. I'm going to put Bayern Munich through. I do think the experience will just carry them that little bit more. So, who do I think Bayern will face? We've got an absolutely ridiculous quarter-final in Man City versus Real Madrid. It's final worthy, but it's happening in the last 8. In my opinion, nobody is beating Real Madrid this year. I think it is going to be a tight game because there is so much quality on both sides, but Madrid are going to be out for revenge after the 4-0 loss last year. I can't see them getting loads past City, but they will do enough to send them through. I know Man City are a great side, and I do think the winner of this tie will end up winning the competition. I just think Real Madrid are going to nick it. Key players are, of course, once again fairly obvious. You've got Jude Bellingham, who's been absolutely outstanding since signing for the club. Really excited to see him face Man City. Vinicius Jr. as well. For City, it's got to be Erling Haaland. I mean, he hasn't been his best in recent games. Phil Foden has been in tremendous form, and I think he's definitely going to have an impact. But I think more so Haaland, he just needs to be clinical, because I don't think they're going to get a lot of chances against Real Madrid. So Haaland is going to be key in the sense that the limited chances City do get, he needs to take them. So that's our first semi-final tie done, Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. Before we move on to predicting that and who would go through to the final, we're going to have a look at the other two quarter-final ties, starting off with Atletico Madrid versus Borussia Dortmund. On paper, they're not the best two sides left in the competition by any means, but we should still be expecting an exciting matchup. Atletico will do what they normally do, which is do as much damage at home and then flatten the tempo in Dortmund. The first leg will be far more exciting, but if Dortmund can get a result away from home, it will force Atletico to go for it. This season in the league, Atletico Madrid have picked up 40 out of a possible 42 points. So getting a result at the Metropolitano is going to be very tricky, and overall I do think Atletico Madrid will be able to win because of how well they did against Inter, who I thought would have actually been able to beat Simeone's side. Key players, I've gone for Antoine Griezmann for Atletico Madrid. He's been great this season. He's got 26 goal involvements in all competitions, I believe. He makes the players around him better. Anything good that happens for Atletico Madrid, he will be an instrumental part of their success against Borussia Dortmund. For Dortmund, I've gone for Jadon Sancho as the key player. It's maybe not such an obvious one as Griezmann is, but Sancho has a big chance here to show the world he's still got it. And I hope he can take it because he is a great player. He hasn't had a good time at United. I think this sort of game is where he can show who he is and remind fans what he can do. So in that sense, he's going to be key. More on an individual level, but obviously it's going to benefit Dortmund if he can step up. So we've got PSG versus Barcelona, who will face Atleti in the semi-final. I think this is going to be a much more even game than people may immediately think. I think on paper people think PSG are going to fly through, but I do think it's going to be slightly tighter than it initially looks. Of course, Luis Enrique is going to be making his return to Barca. He'll know what to expect from Xavi, from the team in general. And I think PSG have got that experience from negative games in the past, such as that 6-1 defeat where they threw away that huge lead against Barcelona. They'll definitely be more careful this time round. And I think just overall their game management will be better. And I think it's going to take a mature performance to overcome Barcelona. But I think PSG now know that's what they have to do and will be successful in doing so. We've got two sides here with leaky defences, but I think PSG's attacking quality is what will get them over the line. The key player in this tie is of course Kylian Mbappe, and therefore for Barcelona it will be Ronald Araujo. Whoever wins that individual battle on the pitch wins the tie. Either Mbappe runs riot or Araujo holds him off, and most likely Lewandowski will go and get a late winner to send Barcelona through. However, I do think Mbappe is just inevitable and he will end up taking PSG through. So there you have it. That's what I think is going to happen in the quarters. So we've got Atletico Madrid versus PSG in the semis, and also Bayern Munich versus Real Madrid. Who goes through to the final from here? We'll start off with Atletico Madrid versus PSG. I think because Atletico Madrid play at home first, that's going to be detrimental to them in this game. I think that they do better playing away first and keeping it a level scoreline and then winning at home. Having the home game first against an opponent like PSG that are obviously better than Dortmund, I do think they'll be able to get away with it against Dortmund. But against PSG, it doesn't matter if they win 2-1, 1-0 at home. Probably won't be enough for them to hold on for 90 minutes after that. I don't think it will be a high scoring game. I do think Mbappe's quality again is going to take them through. Obviously PSG have other players, but Mbappe is the big one that you can always rely on to get you a goal. So yeah, for me, PSG will end up going through to the final, and they will face either Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. For me, straight away, it's got to be Real Madrid. Like I said, they're going to be very, very difficult to beat, and I just think it doesn't matter how well Harry Kane does. Real Madrid have got an abundance of stars, whereas I think Bayern have been slightly reliant on Kane for the goals, and the players around him haven't performed as well as they should have been, which is why they're trailing the top spot in the Bundesliga by 10 points. So I don't think it matters how well he plays. So Real Madrid will go through for me. So here we have it, the final. PSG versus Real Madrid. And I think it's pretty obvious what I'm going to go for. It's going to be Real Madrid. They've just got so much quality. And by the end of the summer, once they've brought in the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Alphonso Davies, it's game over for many, many years. Their squad already looks incredibly tough to beat, but next season I think they'll be unstoppable and impossible to overcome. So there you have it. That is my predicted Champions League path to the final. And I think it will be PSG versus Real Madrid at Wembley, and Real Madrid will beat PSG. In terms of who I think will win the Golden Boot, I'm going to back Kylian Mbappe just because there's slightly easier ties on the way to the final. Just because of the nature of PSG at the minute, I think that the goals are mostly going to come from him. So the goals that they do score, you're going to see him on the score sheet in all of these games, I think, until the end of the Champions League. Kylian Mbappe is joint top goal scorer alongside Erling Haaland, Harry Kane and Antoine Griezmann. Player of the tournament will most likely be Jude Bellingham. He just makes people around him better. He leads the team and he's inevitably going to pop up with a goal or an assist or a key moment he's an unbelievable footballer and will no doubt have a big say on how this tournament goes. So that is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there's plenty more on the channel to check out this week. Yesterday, I analysed Manchester United's incredible win versus Liverpool in the FA Cup, and on Friday, I'm going to be doing a podcast on England and the upcoming Euros. For extra content, make sure you're following INMR on X and Instagram, and when my website is back up and running, be sure to check that out too. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.